Happy Thursday.
Happy
Ladies.
Thursday.
How is everyone tonight?
Wow. All is
Wow.
It was a little hustle for me to get here on time, but I made it.
You did, Jeanette.
Yes, I'm happy.
And
Proud.
I have been missing. Oh, go ahead, Cara, and introduce everyone, and then I'll say my little piece.
Okay, well, I'm Cara Dunstan, and I'm excited to be here another Thursday with my good girlfriends. And tonight's topic is identifying your gift. So I am going to turn it over to Marcy.
hey.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I want to introduce our special guest. We have my former neighbor, next door neighbor, who I have already given some credit to helping me identify at least what I consider a gift. Joy Holmes is here joining us tonight. And I asked Joy to join us because I personally think that she's really good at helping people identify their spiritual gifts. So, welcome, Joy. Thank you for joining us on Good Girlfriends.
Hey.
Chat.
Thank you. I have to say, I've been watching your show on Facebook. So even though there's only 5, you probably seen there's hundreds out there that are watching your discussions.
Oh, thank
Nice.
you.
You.
I looked at the views.
Oh, thank you.
Very
And
nice.
Joy is joining us from the West Coast. So while most of us are on the East Coast suffering through some snow, Joy is on the West Coast feeling the wonderful weather out there. So send some of that over our way, Joy.
Hey.
Love to.
Marcy?
Welcome, Joy. Welcome. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
I'm Marcy.
Hi, Marcy.
Welcome again. It's good to be here. My connection said it's a little unstable, so we'll see how it goes tonight. But grateful to be here with the good girlfriends on another good Thursday night.
Hey.
All right. I love it. So I guess I'll go because then Jeanette can come and give our disclaimer. Hi, everyone. I'm Regina Clay, and I've been missing from the Good Girlfriends because was juggling some things, but I had to get back here because it's nothing like the Good Girlfriends conversation, and I'm glad to be here with you, and I'm so excited. I know Joy as well, and I'm just glad to be here tonight and excited about the conversation this evening.
Well, I'm Jeanette, and welcome back, Regina, because we have missed you.
Yes.
We really have missed you. And Joy, we're so glad to have you here on the show. And I will give a quick disclaimer. Again, we are not experts. We are just good girlfriends sharing information, kicking it the way good girlfriends do. And so welcome back to our virtual living room. And I am too very excited about this topic. I think at some point in our lives, we all wonder, what is our purpose? What's our gift? How do we move the kingdom of God further with our gifts? So happy to have you, Joy, to help us discover this more.
Yes. And I think we have Juanita coming in to join us. So we'll
Hey.
invite her in to introduce herself as well. Juanita, just in time. Yes. Hi, Q.
Everybody.
How are you? We're just introducing ourselves. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Juanita. What did y'all say?
We welcome Joy, who's here from the West Coast. And if you didn't hear, Joy was my former neighbor here on the East Coast. That's how we met. And I will start off the conversation with saying that Joy and I became close friends because we attended the same church, Celebration Church of Columbia. And as I mentioned, she was my neighbor, and she invited my husband and me and some other neighbors to a small group many years ago to discover our spiritual gifts. And most of the group dropped out, but Joy and I stuck with it, stuck with the whole study. And at the end of the study, I tell this story all the time. At the end of the study, Joy and I, Joy said to me, "So what do you think your spiritual gift is?" And I said, "Oh, my spiritual gift is with children. And I think I'm going to get involved with the children at the church." And she looked at me, with this whimsical quiz, look. And she's like, "You're gifted with connecting women and working with women." And I was like, "Women?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, I didn't even see it. Like, didn't see it, didn't know where she got this from. And she said, "I think you should start a small group for women." And so I was like, "Okay, I don't know what that means, but I'll do it." So I sent out a text message to some women that I knew in the area, including Regina Clay, who's here with us tonight. And I said, "I don't really know what I'm doing, but if you're interested in starting or being in a small group, come to my house on Sunday at 2:00. And about 12 women showed up, some which Regina invited that I didn't even know. And they showed up at the door. I let them in and we started a small group, and we met for about 5-6 years, right, ladies? Like every week for 5 or 6 years, and did multiple studies, discovering our gifts and really developing our relationship with the Lord. And it was just really a blessing and really bonding as sisters. And that was really, it was a profound experience. Similar, not necessarily like the village that we discussed last week, because I don't think we were, helping to raise each other's children in that sense, but it was definitely a village. And so that, I think, was the beginning of me realizing the importance of connecting women and trying to uplift women and empower women and bring us all together. So I thank Joy for that. And so I invited her tonight because I thought that she is very good at helping people identify their gifts. So, I that's where I'll start this conversation.
Okay. Are you looking for me to be the?
No, anyone,
Oh.
anyone can jump in.
Okay.
And
What I was going to say was this, Kara. So while you were discovering your gifts working with women, I also discovered that I had a gift working with women and working and being a part of that small group. And when you said, "I want to do it," I said, "I'll help you," right?
Yeah.
And that's really carried through in my life as I've mentored people at work. They've been women for the most part, Black women. And I say not women, but I do have a specific affinity for women of color. And so it really, as I went on to mentor women at work who became my friends, and now I'm retired, I'm still continuing to work with women. I'm about to start a Black business owners power circles, which is really similar to our small group. So it's going to have workshop component, mentoring component, but it'll be a circle of accountability, right? For each business owner, that they'll form a network. And I see that really as the power. There's so much power when we as women get together, and build community and support each other.
Yeah.
So I was going to say you were discovering, but I was discovering, and I continue to discover. That's what I was going to say.
Awesome.
I do have a question for you.
Oh, go ahead, Jeanette.
What are some steps that you've taken, though, or like what would be some advice that you would give to someone as they are trying to discover their spiritual gifts?
I really think that looking, number one, at your life, looking back on your life, right? And all of you are pretty mature. And seeing what are those things that have brought you joy, right? They could be work things, they could be community things, they even could be certain types of relationships. What are those things in your life that have brought you joy? And I'm a big journaler. And I just recommend that when you reflect on questions like that, that you don't rush it. Because the first thing that comes to the top of your mind will probably be top of mind, but it may not be what's really down deep.
Mm.
And so, I would write that at the top of the page, and then I would just keep it around. And when I would just jot down, and that's one of the things that I think is so important. What are those things that bring you joy? And I didn't say happiness; I said joy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Very important.
And then, then also those people who you trust in your life, your good girlfriends.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was like, maybe sometimes it's easier for other people to see the gifts in you. Like I said, I always thought I was gifted with children. Not to say that I don't love children and that I don't want to give back to children, but you may think you have a certain gift and someone else sees something in you. And because we had built that relationship, I trusted what Joy said. So do you think it is easier for other people to see your gifts, or what do you think? Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Anybody?
That was Cece, I thought, said something.
Oh, Cecilia, are you saying something?
I was on mute. I didn't say anything. I was shaking my head. Yes,
Oh, okay.
I think it's easier for other people to see your gift. Sometimes you don't realize it's your gift.
Mm-hmm.
You just do it because you like it, or it's your habit, or whatever. And sometimes other people put it in your head, like, you're really good at that. You should stick to that. And so sometimes other people see your gifts before you really realize that's my gift.
And I just want to say, Cecilia, like, I think about you especially, like the way you love, like, I don't like to bake. I don't like anything about baking. Right? But I watched you the other night, and I've watched you put so much love into it, and it's like I can see the joy inside of you as you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
Thank
don't
you.
even, and I think, and it's seamless, right? So Joy,
Right.
Joy, would you say that, like, when you're walking in your gift, it's seamless?
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
It's
But look, I
as
didn't
the
realize,
Lord, as
I
the
didn't
Lord
realize that
says.
was my gift until somebody else pointed it out to me. I mean, I know I love to do it, but I didn't realize that was my gift.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yes,
now I
and
like to
it's
share it with
easy.
everybody.
Yeah, and as I said, it feels easier, right? You're not having that tug in your spirit, right, about
Yep.
it, because it's bringing you joy what it is you're doing, right?
Yes.
And I would also look back on your experiences too, because our experiences have shaped us.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at what brings you joy is something, and then your good girlfriends, really listening to their feedback. But you'll laugh, right? Wouldn't you laugh at Kara? Who would not think that they could send a text and 12 people would come to their house if they were not good with women?
Of course. That's who she is.
Look at the proof.
I didn't.
And it's still continuing to this day. I mean, it's still,
that is a
this-
real strong gift
Yeah.
for her. That is in her spirit. That's who she really is.
right.
And then
At
she'll
her
do a
core.
lot of different things off of that. But I've seen her put brunches together, and this, and who's winning the tickets, and who's organizing the, I on and on and on. All of you know her, right? So,
And Joy, I do want to say this also. You were I believe if I remember, you were in a male dominated career, right?
Yep.
Where so you mentoring women was a big deal and was a big step. You were high level
Yep.
in your career,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
With a bunch of men. I mean, and
Yes.
we're not, you know, this is not a male bashing, but what I'm saying is it's very different when you are in a high level in your career with a male dominated society, but your pull was toward the women.
Mhm.
Well, I had to. There was nobody else there for them. There was nobody else that had been there for me. And I is sad to say, the same corporation, when I left, there was nobody at my level left that was a Black woman. Now there is some of the people I've mentored. One of them's now, she called me the other day. She's now on the executive leadership council of the whole corporation. She's the chief diversity officer. And she is right there with the president, right? She's right up there. And she doesn't report to him. She's a couple levels down, but she's in his inner circle. So that was a big triumph. But when we look at the numbers, she was telling me they had just, again, Black Lives Matter, they brought 2 other Black women in for the first time. But I saw all that because I saw the cycles where they would bring everybody in. And then a few years later, they're gone. I just was one of those survivors. And I look at that and I went, how did you survive that culture? It was so brutal. How did you do it? And I can only, when I look back, I have to say I did it because my husband was extremely supportive.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a Black life outside of that place that really gave me love and support. Having the girlfriends to talk to like we're doing right now, and really nurturing those relationships, having close friendships, having family. I think that's how I survived, because so many people did not, you don't know how many bodies were laid bare as, along my 40-year career. I spent 20 with one company called Honeywell, very male engineering, and I spent 21 with another. So I split my torture between both.
Wow.
But same culture. It was the same culture. Construction, engineering, male, white. So to this day, unfortunately, they're still the same, like less than 1%. And the young lady who took my role when I left, Marilyn, she's just, she was supposed to get a vice president's job and they just didn't give it to her. And so, I still mentor her. So you need your good girlfriends in every situation, is what I'm saying. As a Black woman, we need to be for each other, because that's how we survive these stressful environments. And I pray the next generation under you guys, because I know you went through it as well, I'm praying that the ones who are 20 don't have to go through what we've gone through.
Yeah.
Well, let me just tell you, I have a client and I am helping them transition to a new executive assistant. And I was interviewing some of those younger persons. And part of the reason that they want to leave the environments that they're in is that they're not accepting, that people are not accepting their Blackness, right? And they're not for it. They're not for it for a job. They're not for it. They're like, they're just very matter of fact. Because one woman said, I was like, oh, she has a pretty good position. But she's like, yeah, but they're not about what I'm about. So I'm out.
So that leads me to this question. So do you think that once you identify your gift, or if you know, or that you should work within your gift, or are they separate, or is that the best alignment if you can work within your gift? Because it sounds like to me, Regina, some of these younger people are like, I'm only going to do this if it's in alignment with what I'm gifted, with my spiritual gift or my gift. And
Mhm.
whereas, for me, I was like, I'm going to find a job or a career,
Right.
not looking at it directly in the lens of
It also,
my
it
gift.
also goes back to what makes you happy. And for maybe a lot of younger people, that doesn't fill their spirit.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah,
It doesn't.
yeah.
I mean, Kara, you even talked about how you've transitioned from other positions because you read
Uh-oh,
you
we lost.
needed to change your lifestyle. And even though you were good at what you did,
Mhm.
and you excelled at it, you recognize that just wasn't
Right.
it just wasn't fitting my spirit. It wasn't fitting my lifestyle. It wasn't what. So perhaps they're realizing it. We had some of that discussion too.
Yeah.
Hey, like, what do you mean you left your job? You don't have a job? No, you worked, and you did what you did. But the young people's, they're in a different space, and so if they're not happy, it's not bringing them joy, then they're not spending time in that place.
Hmm.
I was thinking about when we had the credit diva on. That is an example to me of someone that is walking in their spiritual gift. She was not only good at her job, but she was so joyful, happy and joyful.
Yeah.
You could feel her energy. It was her energy was ridiculous. So that wasn't work for her. That was like her, while it was her profession or whatever, you could tell that she would do that for free.
Hmm.
I mean, she gave so much information from her heart to
Yeah.
that people would pay for it, right? Because she was walking in her spiritual gift, right? So I thought that was outstanding. And even my mother would watch the show and she was like, she was wonderful,
Yeah.
that
And,
was an example.
and she did leave her job to walk into her spiritual gift and have
Yes,
success in it. So,
yes.
No, but I'm also working with my sorority's getting ready to put on a talent event with various professionals from all different backgrounds, from spoken word and song. And each of these individuals are so very gifted in what they do. And we met with them and interviewed them, and they told us their story about how they started, whether they started from the age of 3 or their mother introduced them to violin and they
did Marcy stall or is it just
She's
my?
frozen.
No, it's Mars. Yeah. Okay.
what did you say? Oh,
We
did it
missed it.
stop?
It
Yeah.
stopped for a minute.
Oh, there's that
So you were
internet.
telling us
Welcome
about
to
the
Zoom.
gift.
So there are artists, but at the same time, they also work. One gentleman, he is a mental health worker, and he loves what he does as a mental health worker, but he also loves his music. So it's interesting listening who are literally operating in their gifts of song or the gifts of spoken word. And I will, invite you all to that at some point. But they're all working, and yet they talk about what they do and how much they like that and how good they are. But in their craft and in their artistry and their music, you can even feel their gift and how much they love it just from a conversation with them.
Yeah. I mean, I live with someone like that. My husband is like that. He's very gifted as a photographer and he's an artist by trade. And I look at him every day like, what a blessing to be able to support yourself through your gift and enjoy what it's not work for him really. I mean, he's so committed to it, and I get to watch the commitment, the level of commitment, and the study, and it's nothing for him. Like for instance, for me, I'm like, I don't know if I want to study that hard, but for him, he loves it. This brings him joy, and so you can, and like Joy said, there's a difference between happiness and joy, and so you can see the joy in what he does and his commitment to it. So you know, it's a great example here for me to see how that works, and also how God will make space for your gift too. So,
I think it's important for people that do have that gift like your husband, my brother, my photographer. He's my photographer. I don't know who else's photographer he is, but he's mine. But anyway, but no, because this is exactly why, well, besides the fact that he's my brother, but I'm just saying, like, other people try and take pictures for me. I'm like, I'm sorry, I was like, you're good, but you're not Andre in terms of and what I mean by that is the love and the feeling that he puts into it. Just like I said about Cecilia, the way she makes those cookies is like I'm just like, I gotta order some just because she put so much into it. And the Credit Diva, who I have contracted with, she has love in what she does, and it makes a difference. And that, I think that is why your spiritual gift, when the word of God says your gifts will make room for you, and they will, and they also will be prosperous. And prosperous for you in your spiritual being, and financially prosperous as well. And so but that's not why you do it.
Right.
You're not doing it because you want to be a millionaire or make money or whatever.
And I think that's when you're walking in your gift. Like I think Joy said it, or somebody said, if you do something and without even getting paid for it, compensated for it. And so he can't go any. I see it with Cecilia. She baked before the business. I enjoyed a lot of her treats long before the official business launched. But, and all made with love. Same with my husband. I mean, he can't go anywhere, whether it's paid or not. He can't go anywhere without a camera. So, it's just it's in them. It's within the person. So
I think we saw that in some of our small business sisters that came on as well. Even if they sort of fell into it, or I mean, the sister that did the mug that you used, and did she lose her job or was laid off? But when she described the mugs and what she has and what she does, you could just see the joy.
Yeah.
Well, I can do this one, and I can do this, and I can do that. And if and I mean, she was all in, and you could just tell the joy in terms of just creating something special and for each individual that approached her.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question for Joy. Can you be in, because many times I think when people think about your gifts, they think about entrepreneurship only, right? And that and most of the people that we just shared about, are entrepreneurs. But can you be walking in your gift and be in a career or a job also? I'm putting it out there for people that may think,
oh yeah,
I'm not an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
well,
Marcy was describing. Marcy, you were just describing that those people had careers.
People that I talked about. I mean,
right.
But when I'm telling you, when you hear these folks, they are talking about gifted. They're gifted, and that may not be their day job, if you will.
Right.
So, Regina, I'm going to go back to what you said earlier when you asked me that question about how did I survive? And how I survived was I began to mentor other people. So that was really my gift. My gift is mentoring and developing and leading. So that's what helped me too. So you can be in a place where maybe you're just earning that buck because it's good, but maybe within that or outside of that, right? You develop something else that's in your gift. That's what gives you the joy. We know circumstances, look, we got to pay mortgages. We might not be able to hop around and just leave that job. But I will say this, what I did learn after I retired is that I should have had if I was tuned into my gift earlier, I would have left, because what I discovered that environment gives is stress.
Mhm.
And I'm suffering with high blood pressure now because of what I just shared with you, right? The stress of being in that environment and that the coping skills. And so for you younger women, if you can really find a way to do both, it would avoid you a lot of stress and illness later on. Praise the Lord, I'm healthy and I have the money to have a trainer and a massage and a this and a that. But trust me when I tell you, the high blood pressure is a stressful thing. And since I've stopped working, it's gone way down. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's what causes our diseases, right? It's why a lot of women 65 and they're like this. I remember when I was maybe we're going to a play, I celebration, never forget, I said, all these women, who were 5 years older than me or my age coming on the bus. I was like, that is not going to be me. But I didn't realize then it was a survival thing, that you have to think about the stress you put on your body when you're not living in your gifts. It is very stressful and it affects us from a health perspective.
Yeah, and I think that would be a great topic to have you come back and share about. We need to have that as the topic about, lessons learned, that you can share with us, because I talked about, we've already talked about earlier shows that I found the corporate stress to be nothing that I wanted in you, and took a step back in my career so that I can do things like Good Girlfriends and other things to balance it out, because I could totally see going down that path of becoming unhealthy. The lifestyle, if you want to continue to rise in those environments, doesn't allow you to be, as an African American woman at least, as healthy. So, while others during the day at my job were going to the gym, I didn't really have that luxury to go to the gym during the day. So, and by the time I got home, I was tired. So, I wasn't able to continue a healthy lifestyle like that. So I do agree that you have to, lessons learned, I'm looking at this age, but I wish I had learned it younger, that, you have to make choices and make decisions that work for a long-term benefit, balancing both a career and your gifts.
So I do think, though, it's important what many of you have said, just in terms of knowing that, or being tuned into how your gifts show up in your workplace, right? And also in your private life. And so I think, like my takeaway from this conversation is that you have to be more, purposeful, like in terms of recognizing those things that you are doing, maybe even in a stressful environment, but that's bringing you that joy, right? And paying attention to, how you're moving, your particular movements. And so you mentioned, Joy, the journaling, which I think is great. I am not a journaler. So just for other people like myself, what would be some other things to help us to tune in to what may be our spiritual gift if we're not, big on journaling?
Then I would just think the feedback. Maybe you have a one-on-one conversation and you really seek it out specifically, right? And you are intentional about asking. And you could pick different spheres of your life, so you could get a perspective of how different spheres of your life, how you show up. You might find you show up differently to girlfriends than you show up at work, that you show up at. I used to be two different people. I would be this person that in my 20s, I was this person that showed up at work this way and showed up outside of work another way. It was very stressful. I integrated that in my 30s, praise the Lord. So I would definitely want to get feedback on different spheres and one-to-one conversation, with the right people, right? Not people. That's an evil person who's going to be like, you want to talk to people who love you and who care about you and who you're good girlfriends and family, and really consider what they say, because that means that if you don't like to write, that means you're a verbal person. So you might respond more to that. And then, as I said, really reflect back on those experiences that you have had. what kinds of things do I tend to do? What kinds of things do I like to do? How do I show up in this place? Am I the one that organizes it, or am I the one that assists? Am I the one that plans, or I'm the one that likes to be part of the team? Really kind of look and see how you show up in your situations in your life. So that's only a couple of other things I might add.
I will say, just listening to you say that, how I show up at work is very different than how I show up other places.
Oh.
And
I bet.
Right? And not personality wise, but in terms of those two, just team and being part of the team and being the leader of the team. So it's two different scenarios. And sometimes I show up differently in my personal life because I have to do the other thing in my professional life. So I'm happy to do team. Right? Now that doesn't mean, that I don't lead in other ways too.
Right.
I mean, we can get into that, and that's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other conversation.
That is something definitely for me to, flesh out.
But that's interesting that that you say that, because that goes back to what identifying which one or what you are spiritually gifted with, leadership or more administration. Which one?
I think too, Joy, you raise a good point, because
all is valuable.
all
is valuable. You cannot have a functioning organization without all the parts and pieces working. The leader can't do it if people don't want to make a team. Sometimes we think one is more valuable than the other. All is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
All is valuable.
Yeah,
I agree too. I am not a journaler either. I have done some journaling and will do some from time to time, but then it's not consistent like I hear Cara and Joy talk about. And clearly I am also very much a verbal person as well. But also Joy and Cece also mentioned listening to friends sometimes, because our group of Village Sisters, there were a group of us who were getting together. This was some years ago, doing some studying around spiritual gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So when it got to me, when we talked about being an administrator, I'm going, I absolutely am not an administrator. Now, and I am the executive assistant to the vice president at the university I work for, who is also a good girlfriend of mine and one of the Ride or Die Village moms. However, I was going, I am absolutely not the administrator. I'm not who I am. And so there are times when you are going, no, that's not who I am and what I do. But to Joy's point, when you look back kind of at, look at the things you've done in your life. And so now in our group text, the Village moms call me the administratress. They're like, the administratress. Thank you, Miss Administratress, for making it happen, keeping us on point, reminding us. And so I've come to realize that is the who that I am. Mm-hmm. And if I look at, even my sister talked about, Marsh, you're always the one that's joining, you're always the one that's leading, you've done this, you're president of that, you chair this. And I was, through this whole spiritual gift thing was going, I'm not the administrator. No, that's not, I don't want to. Like, yes, you do. Because not because you want to do, it's because it is what you do. And so you get to, as Joy said, you get to the point where you listen to others, and your good girlfriends are not going to lead you astray.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting, Marcy, I knew that about you, because that's why we're sisters. Because this is, and this is what I say, when you have that gift, and people say that about me, like, I will go to a conference and I'll be like, why are they organized that way? If they just do this and do this and do this, the line would go faster. And people are like, Gina, nobody is thinking about that except you. But I was like, but it would just, if they would just do this. And then I try to go in there, then I try to, I've gotten better at that, but I'll try and go and say, well, if you just move this line to this, I'm sure it will move much faster.
It's in you. You can't help yourself. It's in you.
I
So
can't.
I guess you had the gift of event planning, and maybe you should have
I
looked
do
at
have
that
that
as.
gift too, yeah. But Marcy, when you were saying that, I was like laughing because we have been on these these calls, and Marcy and I will see the same thing at the exact same time, and I'm like, oh my gosh! I was like, Marcy is just like me. There's nobody else. It probably and see and Jeanette and her free spirit, it like passed her right on by.
Or it's no thing to me. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay.
Right, because it's no thing to you.
It's
So,
not.
so look at who are the two most pressed tonight and very executive looking.
I thought I took something out of what Marcy said. Sometimes we fight our gift, like we don't want to. We are like fighting against our gift, and so it may be that thing that we don't want to do, but that's what we're gifted in. So, where does the joy come? You have to find the joy in it.
And sometimes it might be joy, but sometimes it's work. I think for me, it was sort of battling that work of, well, I don't really want to work this hard, or I don't really want to, or like Regina said, you know, sometimes like, well, it seems to me, and you're thinking, how come it doesn't seem to the other 4 people? Or why are we into this 12 times? Because it seems to me on number 2, we could have worked this out.
And by number 2, I've already checked out and I'm on my way doing something else. I don't even bother with the worrying about.
I love her. She's like, you all work it out 12 times, I'll be right here.
Yeah.
Right. She is.
Yeah.
Whereas Marcy and I are like, we gonna figure it out. I mean, like,
I'm already past that.
I'm on the fixer team, but then I had to learn. It took a lot of health issues for me to learn to not be a part of the fixer team.
yeah.
Y'all know what I told y'all before today. Like, I got to take care of something with my health tomorrow. And why was that? Because Juanita did not know how to say no. Anything anybody wanted, I helped do it. I take care of it. If I couldn't do it, I knew somebody. That's just how I've been. And I'm going to tell you, it's been all the way up to age 51 and a half. So, I don't know. It's a gift, but it's a curse.
Well, and sometimes saying no is a learned behavior also. Then
That was brand new for me.
right. And if you've been in a place of yes or helping, you have to get to the point where that's not. So, you know, so the other flip side, Regina, is like, no, at some point I'm like, okay, y'all go ahead. Because I'm so done. And when y'all finish, I'll be right here. You know, so you know, some of that is because, you know, because you can't get lost in it. You know,
Right.
To the point where it's not giving you joy, to the point where there's no happiness in this, because then you really need to step off of it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that has already stepped off, and she's chilling on the 1, and I love her for that. That's
And Jeanette will come and tell Marcy and Regina, like, why are y'all tripping?
Right. Come on back and let's just come on.
Let's just chill out. Like, let's just go.
Right. And if those others don't, that's all good too. And I've gotten to that too. If those other folks don't, that's fine. Like, call me when you're done, because I'm gonna be over here, you know, hanging out and taking it to the next phase. So
Right.
But you have to get to that. You have to learn that. You have to, you know, choose it. You have those experiences. I used to keep a little piece of sticky note years ago on my desk that said no, because I needed to. Marsh, you can't. You just, you know, you can't. No. Or if you're going to say yes to it, for me, it's like, well, let me not just say yes. Let me find out what that means. Let me find out what's behind the yes, because I may be able to do something that's within my gift, but you might be working me just a little harder than I intended to, or than I'm able to. So now I, you know, slow it up a little and let me get big picture on it, so that I can, you know, see it before I say the yes, whether it's something that I'm gifted to do or not.
Can you have more than one dominant gift? Can you have multiple gifts? Like,
Well, yeah, I think you can. I mean, you certainly can have multiple gifts in multiple areas, right?
Yeah, I think
There's a lot of gifts. You know, I don't have the scripture. I'm gonna have to look it up. There's a lot of gifts, right? There's courage. There's, you know, so there's enough. Yes, most of us, I think, have multiple gifts. Some more dominant than others, and some we decide to work in, and some we don't.
There's courage, there's wisdom, there's understanding, there's counsel.
Yeah. Counseling,
We have multiple.
teaching, there's lots of gifts.
Right. There's 16.
Organization.
Right. Faith,
16,
16 spiritual gifts.
would you?
What are they?
share?
Can you give them
You
to
want me
us?
to-
Yeah, slowly.
Okay. Administration,
Mm-hmm.
That's the one I said no to.
me too. Apostleship or pioneering,
Apostleship,
or
pioneer.
discernment,
Mhm.
encouraging, evangelism, faith, giving, hospitality, knowledge, leadership. And I'm going to use the word shepherding instead of pastor because there's a difference there. And perceiving, which can be associated with prophecy. So perceiving, that's and teaching, serving, mercy, wisdom. So those are spiritual gifts.
Mm-hmm.
There are others. Joy, did you have?
That's a great list.
No, that's a great list. That covers just about everything.
Yeah.
That what where in the Bible is that? I know it's
So Romans. Well, there are, wait a minute, hold on. I'm sorry.
Was that from just a summary?
That was a list, but Romans.
Oh.
12,
Romans 12.
yeah, Ephesians 4 and 1 Corinthians 12. Like,
okay.
There's several.
It's a combination of different.
Yeah, it's a combination because the spiritual gifts, like there are the kind of pastoral teaching, those gifts, but there are others. And so that's one of the things, and in a myth, and Joy, anybody can chime in here. You don't have to be, everyone has a gift. You don't, because a lot of people think, oh, well, you have to be a pastor or a leader or a minister to have gifts, because the gifts are only prophecy and this and that are considered, how can I describe it, Joy? I don't know how to describe it, but people are like, that's why I said shepherding as opposed to being a pastor, because you can shepherd. Cara shepherds groups of women together, right? She probably would not consider herself a pastor.
Not at all.
Shepherding, I know, but shepherding is the gift.
Yes.
The ability to pull people together.
Gotcha.
That is a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where and Car, I know you're probably like, oh, well, that's easy. I just call this one and that one, but not everybody can do that. And Marcy, you and I with the administrative stuff, like, not everybody can think strategically about something.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they're any less than, they just don't think like that.
Yeah, I've seen women at who serve, and it's nothing for them to serve, and you can tell they're gifted in that area, because no matter where they are, what capacity they're in, they could be at church, they could be in someone else's home. It doesn't matter where they are, they're always serving, and you can just see it in them. It's like they've got that gift. They're gifted at serving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've seen that before. So I see what you're saying. Whereas, and they don't even think about it. Like they're at your house and they're helping to put the, they're like, can I get anyone anything to drink? They're not even there in their own home, but it's in them to just be that way. So yeah, I see what you're saying, that you can't even help yourself.
You can't even help yourself. Right? Like it's so funny because in the church that I've been in over half my life, and I was on the ministerial staff, I was on the steward board, trustee board, and we would have dinners and we would serve people. I was like, y'all, this is not my gift. Because when I drop that food in front of you and you tell me I don't want the breast, I want and it's free, I'm done. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? But there are people, the kitchen ministry, the culinary ministry, they love that stuff.
Exactly.
That's just not me. And so I was like, I can help you. Oh, laugh at me. I can help you organize how to get it out to the people, but don't ask me to serve it.
Oh, Regina. I had a similar story that happened at work maybe a year or so ago. And we were helping out a director that worked with us at the time, doing some community work. And so she had ordered some lunches. And then, so I came into that office, because I also work in the Center City office. And then they said, well, Marsh, she has you on serving the lunch. Here, serving the who? Right, the same thing. And people get in line and they want, can I have some of that? And I'm going, wait, and it's hot? And you got hot? It's not. Now listen, sometimes I always say you don't know what your gift is, but I can tell you what it's not. No. It's just as important to know the things that you do that don't bring you joy.
That's true.
Right.
To know what does bring you joy, because if it really doesn't bring you joy, then your heart's not there. We just did a workshop for this Zoom about February, about Heart Health Month. So your heart needs to be happy, and because people will see that Cara, even in her gift, everybody that does what she does, she enjoys it, but everybody doesn't answer the call from someone. People respond to her. Somebody else that makes the call, they may not respond to her the same way. So people also feel her. And Regina, people feel us, and we don't serve that food up right.
And they're like, well, I don't even want the food. Let me go ahead, because they are so. And I mean, I'm not nasty or mean about it, but it's just that I'm just like, what? Yeah. And so that's not, that's not my gift. I tell people, I was like, my gift is not in the kitchen.
Right.
My mother was a home economics teacher, but I tell people all the time, that's not my gift. I mean, yes, I can cook. Yes, I can put some food together, but my gift, girl, let me see, Cecilia, I'm gonna go back to you in that baking. Like putting all Cecilia was the other night when she's putting all the little designs on it. I was like, who has time for all that? Cookies, what?
Right. Can I just have a cookie, please?
Can I just have a cookie, a sugar cookie? That's all I want. And even the young lady that does the cups, who has time to put all those little pieces in them? I don't have time for that. So I mean, but she loves it. Right. But anyway.
Cece, do you ship
Well, at
your
least
cookies?
you know what your gift is not. What did you
did.
say?
Do you ship your cookies?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. I just swore off sweets for February after I've put on a considerable amount of weight during COVID. So I didn't ask about cookies.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people let me say this, one of the things that I think that is important too, in this pandemic, people, their gifts have been enhanced because you've had the time to think about them and the time to cultivate them, possibly, right? Whereas you didn't have the time before. You were just, but I mean, I think that what we've all had in the pandemic is a little bit of time. You know, yes, we're working hard from home. Yes, we're working, you know, we're doing a lot of things, but I think we've had more time. You know, I was just saying to a girlfriend the other day, like, you know, I don't want to go back to meetings in person. Like, I don't want to drive 15 minutes and then be in there for an hour and a half. But anyway, I'm going to just pray for me, y'all, because I'm like, I don't want to do that.
I agree. I thought about that this week too. The fact that the time that we've been given during this pandemic has really been a blessing to take time just to focus on what your gifts are. They're in you, but you have to, you know, bring them out and think about them and discover them. And we didn't have, or I felt like I didn't have as much time before to do that. So you're right, Regina. The pandemic has, in that sense, been a blessing to give people time to enhance their gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least take time to think about what their gifts are. Maybe they haven't enhanced them, but sometimes you're moving so fast that you don't even take a minute to reflect, like, what's my purpose?
Yep.
What brings me joy? What do I really like doing? And so I think for some, this time, although stressful, has made people kind of think about, like, where is my gift?
Yeah.
What is it? So
Discovering your gift. Yep.
There's a lot of businesses that have come out since COVID, that's for sure. New businesses, I should say, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that is true. And people are testing out their, their spiritual gifts.
Yeah, people have found their purpose.
Yeah. That's for sure. Well, do you ladies feel like you've identified your gifts? Anyone? Well, Marcy, we know you've identified at least one of your.
She was.
Excited. I just, full disclosure, I do. There are times when I still go, no, don't want to do this. No.
I want to find that gift to say no. Haven't found that one yet.
No is probably a challenge for all of us at some point. So we're still working on that. We talked about that before. We just have to work on that one word sentence. So
do a whole nother session on just saying no.
Just say no. Yeah.
Just say no.
Why we're saying no and who we're saying no to, and why is it difficult to say no, and that's a whole nother.
You gotta do like helping.
It took me 65 years to learn how to say no, but that's a whole nother conversation, because it's about when your life starts getting less and less, it's about what's your real priorities. It makes you get really clear. The older, so age was, it's a big discussion. Yeah.
Q, what were you going to say about your gifts?
That I as much as I sometimes cringe upon it, I really do like helping people solve problems and look for things. Like of course, the first time anybody thinks about anything legal, they call me. And whether it's in my bailiwick or not, I can find the answer. And I like doing that. I like the satisfaction of helping to problem solve. So I think that's one of my main ones.
My other one is I'm a numbers person. So whenever it's money involved in anything, any organization I belong to, I'm always the money person. It just happened to fall in my lap. But then that's what my career was too. So I was an accountant at work. So yeah, I like that too. I mean, it was stressful at working, but when you can do it on your own free time, it's better. Dealing with money, I mean, when it's not as stressful when you have to punch a clock and do it.
You were talking about all the bowling people, getting them together, so you like it.
Oh yeah, I know. I said I do it.
But she managing their money.
Right. I don't even go to the bowling alley because of COVID, but they send the money home with Marcus, and then I add it up and put it in the bank.
But then that goes back to what you're saying. You're not punching a clock. You're just doing it because for the love of it.
Right.
It brings you joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Jeanette? Have you identified any of your
I think I'm still in the process of discovery, I mean, I have some ideas because I am very self-reflective and I do pay attention to how people respond to me. But I still think I'm in the process of some self-discovery.
I know I heard you say you're not a journaler. I am a journaler. I probably have like 50 books right now. But do you meditate? Do you like
You know, I'm trying to get into that, you know, like meditation, but I do spend a lot of quiet time with myself. So like I said, I'm very, 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 probably to a fault, self-reflective. And, you know, I try to stay here all the time. I think because I am self-reflective, I'm not saying I stay there all the time. There are times where I am, you know, but I am very self-reflective. I don't know. I just,
That's a gift too, right there, Jeanette.
yeah,
There's a lot of people that are not self-reflective.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
Right. You value it.
So yeah, I do value that time. Yeah. Self-reflective, self-aware, all of that stuff. I try to make sure that I'm in tune with my emotions and feelings and why am I feeling this way and what's at the root of that, so that when I'm interacting with other folks, you know, I try to, you know, make sure that I'm tempered.
Based on the list, that Regina just gave us, and based on what you're saying, and just based on me knowing you for the last 30 years almost, that's the gift of discernment. You're able to discern a lot of things I've seen through the years. You have that gift of discernment. So I would say that's one of your gifts.
I agree. And also, Jeanette, that can be helpful to a lot of people because a lot of people can't get past certain things because they don't want to take that inner look. I mean, you'd be surprised. And I know, and I saw how you said it. Like you were like, oh, I'm just self-reflective, like all the time. Like it's just what I do, right? But a lot of people can't do that.
Right.
And so there's a lot of people that you could help. Children, leaders. I mean, there's a lot of people that you can help on that gift of self-reflection and telling people how self-reflection has helped you in your life.
So that's funny that you say that, because I do think, like, you know, so I connect with people. I do connect very well. I make personal connections very well. But I do better one-on-one, and then I can, you know, mesh with the group, right? You know, and so I do have different relationships, different relationships with different friends in the same friend group that seek similar things that you're talking about from me.
We were talking about the last session. I mean, 10 very different personalities. And for me, my relationship with each one is different based on how we connected and then how that friendship has grown and moved along the 5, 10, 15, 50-year continuum. Very different.
Right. Like I called Marcy, like the first time she did Good Girlfriends, it might have been like 20 minutes before the show. And I was like, I need you to come on, blah, blah, blah. She was like, bing, I'm here. I think anybody who I've called, everybody's like, oh, I'm here. Even though they want to cuss and fuss and say, you just called me at the last. They don't. They just show up.
Now, right. And I would say for Good Girlfriends, for me, it's really about answering the call.
Yeah.
It really is about, because you know, if the ask, you know, so for me, I don't ever have to question why it's not a no, there's no fight, because for me, it's always pure joy. I must say, I find joy in my good girl.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tanya, who is not with us tonight, she said her gifts are hospitality, administration, serving, giving, and faith.
It
I
is definitely her.
I can see all of that in her.
Yep.
I so
love it.
can.
Yep. All of those are her gifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
You surely are. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And Regina, we were asking the question if we've identified our gifts, and yes, you've identified at least a couple of your gifts tonight. But have you identified any other gifts?
Definitely faith. Definitely administration. Definitely shepherding.
Mm-hmm.
Those are and hospitality and giving. I don't know if I said giving.
Yeah,
in
you did.
terms of- okay.
You did, yes.
Giving is definitely one of my gifts,
Yes.
right? If
Yeah.
I won the lottery and had $40 million, I probably would keep $1 million to myself because I would have probably given it all away to
true.
different things. My good girlfriends, we would have gone on a trip, if it wasn't COVID or whatever the situation, I would have given it all away, really, literally,
That's me.
Yeah, so giving is one of mine.
Yeah, I see that for sure. Yeah.
That's me. At Christmas time, I love to give gifts. Like, I don't want to give out a gift card. Like, to me, that's so impersonal. I don't want to give anybody money. I want to shop for the gift I think that you would love, or I would love for you to have. So I'm always gifting too much sometimes. But
You never can give too much.
but I love it. I mean, it's like I'll shop forever. Like, it's just like something I like to do, and that comes into the fact I don't know how to say no because I'm a giver. Like, so when people ask me to do things or whatever, then I'm always like, okay, all right. Even though I know if I'm pushing myself to the limit, in my head I'm figuring out 100 million ways how I can get it done. Like, I can do it because I can move this around here and I can do that this day, and no problem. Then the whole time, probably in the background, I'd be like, why the heck did I tell him? Yeah, I don't have the time, but I'm going to make it happen because I say yes. Because I don't know how to say no.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
That was pretty deep. You should see how your face lit up when you were talking about giving. And it was just like, you can see that, right? She just.
It's the same way that it lights up when she talks about baking.
Baking.
All
I
of
do. Like, I even give my baking away. Like Cara said, like, I'll show up to stuff all the time and have baked goods. And like, it's not always that you have to pay me for it.
Mhm.
And before I even started, like, our poly thing, I'm always bringing something to the poly class. So whatever we getting together, like, oh, I'm bringing something. I don't know what it is sometimes. Sometimes I like to try new stuff, but I'm always going to bake something and bring it. And it's so the point, like, my family, when we get together, if I come there without something, they're like, what is wrong with you? You didn't bake us?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I didn't know it was that kind of party.
She showed up at our house one day unexpectedly, just happened to be in the neighborhood, and the first question Andre asked was, do you have anything in your car?
Surely did. Like, I don't drive around with cookies and cakes in the car unless I'm delivering for people. People ask me that all the time. I just felt like just keep some cookies in the car.
In the neighborhood. I just was in the neighborhood and stopped by. He was like, anything in the car?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I think what we're also saying is that no matter what our gift is, I think we've all identified that our gift also brings others joy as well.
That's a good point.
What did she say? What did Marcia say? I couldn't hear.
I think that no matter what we've identified as a gift, I think we could agree that our gift brings others joy as well.
Yes.
How much how much you enjoy baking, and I've just, in this short time that I've known you and seen you, listen to you talk about it, but you do the same amount of joy is there when people are asking for your baked goods because they are good and because they get as much joy from it as you get from giving it to them as well. So
Yeah,
Well, that's why the Lord gave us our gifts, right? So we can be a blessing to others.
Mhm.
If you believe in the Lord, and
Right,
yeah.
right. Well, whether you believe in the Lord or not, we should accept that we have our gifts to bless others
That bless others.
and bring others joy. So that was a great point, Marcy. Really good point. And soon we're going to meet two young people.
609.
Yeah, eventually they're going to come on, but we're going to have two young people who are going to share with us. As we've said in the past, the good girlfriends, the premise was to have discussions with your good girlfriends, but it was also to bring a generational concept to the discussion as what the generation before, and I'm taking myself as the initial, the baseline generation here. So the generation before us, some of the lessons learned and some of the insights from that generation, as well as the next generation, what we can impart on them or learn from them as well. So we are planning to have Joy's daughter, as well as Regina's daughter, on this evening to share some of their businesses. And I believe personally that each of your daughters is walking in their gift.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. And so their businesses are based on their gifts. They're both very gifted. Regina's daughter, and we'll talk more when she comes on. Regina actually blew me away. Was it yesterday that we talked, Regina? It was just yesterday. I had no idea. I do follow Regina's daughter on Instagram. However, I did not know that she had another page with her artwork on it. And Regina just happened to mention it yesterday. And I was blown away. Like, I was like, wow, she's very gifted.
So she's an artist, Regina, your daughter?
She is. And you know what? It's interesting because she likes to do makeup. And I thought that was really the thing. But you know, it's a makeup artist, right? So art is her thing. But not something that I really knew about. And she has taken this on herself. And, you know, I mean, she'll talk about it. Yeah. Look, Cara, did she know I was going to be on here?
I don't know. I invited her.
What is her Instagram page?
Her Instagram.
Now too.
Oh,
what's her
Lord.
Instagram
page? Lord Jesus.
I invited her yesterday and she agreed to come on and talk to us about her business. And as Regina said, I knew that she was a makeup artist and she's in high demand. I've tried a couple times to get her to do my makeup, but I can't catch her on her schedule.
Artso J Us. ARTSO JAYUS.
JU.
No, JAYUS.
Art. So JAYUS. Oh, here she is, Elisa.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And we're also going to be joined by Joy's daughter, who was also my
and our Instagram page is Bridgetown Roti. We're in LA. Yeah. Oh wow.
So Joy's daughter, and we'll talk more when they join us, but at some point, didn't your daughter go to culinary arts school?
In Baltimore, yes.
Yeah, in Baltimore, back when they were my neighbors. And so her daughter is now walking in her gift of feeding the world with, does she have a food truck? Is that what it is?
No. Okay, so she's been a chef and she has a pandemic story. She was in a previous partner. They had started doing a pop-up any events catering business, and they were, doing pretty well, had bookings, and then
COVID,
and that just, so I'd been working together on her business plan. And so we were like, okay, what do we do now? And she was like, well, I'll try a food truck. And her partner, we have to pivot. Her partner just could not get his head around pivoting. Mm-hmm. He was like, I'll wait it out. So she said, okay, Mom. I said, I don't. So we started putting a plan together for the food truck. And then we just decided it was not a good idea. And during while all this was happening, while we're making plans, she was like, what am I going to do for money? And I was like, well, hey, back in the day, my parents' generation, when everybody needed rent money, we're all living together. They had fish parties, they had card parties. Friday night, they sold food. I want you to sell some food out of your house.
Sell dinner.
You're a chef.
Yeah.
So she started selling patties out of her house, and it took off. And believe it or not, the LA Times guy came around and he got some patties and he started writing about her. And so we made a decision not to do a food truck, but to do a commercial kitchen. Wow. And shortly after she decided to incorporate and all that, do the commercial kitchen. Shortly after Black Lives Matter, July or whatever, there was all this money, right? And Discover gave out these grants. Somebody nominated for her and she won $25,000. So we were able to afford the equipment for the kitchen.
Wow. That's
God, when you're in your gift, how things can happen. And in addition to that, we were able to secure, again, because of Black Lives Matter, one of the biggest, the boutique restaurant consulting group has taken us on as a client. They've been working with us for 6 months. We're getting ready to negotiate another contract with them.
Wow.
Yes, and this is her relationships that she built. So they had met when she was working in another restaurant out of Coachella, running Coachella for that restaurant, and he was running all of Coachella. And when she, contacted him, he was like, of course I'll take you on. So boom. It's been a fast and furious ride, but you'll see when you go to her website, all the press, she has gotten a ton of press.
That's awesome.
A ton of press.
That is awesome.
Well, and that's what I was just, yeah.
Joy, how old is your daughter?
She's 33. What? Wait a minute. She was born in 1987. How old is that?
She's 33.
Yeah.
I got it right. Soon to be 34 in April. And believe it or not, my son is going to be 40 this year. I cannot believe it.
Wow.
I'm really old.
We just getting started.
Just getting started. So it looks like, we've got Elisa Drake and Rashida Holmes on. And hi, ladies. Welcome to the Good Girlfriends chat.
Ladies.
Hello. So very excited to have you both. And this is the time in our segment where we share African-American female-owned businesses. So we wanted to highlight both of your businesses. And before you all got on, I actually mentioned that your mothers were on here and how our topic this evening was walking in your or finding your gifts. And I was mentioning that you all were coming on and that you are sharing your gifts with the world. To hear more about them. So welcome, Elisa and Rashida. And we'll start with you, Elisa. Do you want to give us a little bit? I had no idea before yesterday that you were an art. I knew about the makeup, but I didn't know about your other art. So I was blown away when I saw your artwork. And everyone on the call here has gone to your Instagram page and as well. So we'd love to hear your story of how you got started or anything else you want to share. And also tell us about your business, how we can support it, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so first to get started, I'm Elisa Drake, and over quarantine, since March, I believe, I've been taking up painting. And over these past few months, I've just been trying to get better and better. And so I decided to create a business out of it, and I started selling my art. And currently I am selling my own original art, and I'm also doing commissions at this point. And I am on Etsy, and I have an Instagram page where you can just DM me that as well, or purchase them off of Etsy.
And tell us how old you are, Elisa.
Oh, I'm 17 and I go to Wild Lake High School.
Amazing. You are just truly amazing.
Wonderful.
Yes.
I have
So,
some here if you guys want to
yes,
see
we
them.
would love to see your art.
Okay. So this is one that I have right now. This is
Incredible.
thank you. Let's see what else. This is one I do a while back as well.
Wow.
Let's see. I can.
These are all hand painted?
Yeah, hand painted.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Wow.
Nice.
Thank you.
Like her.
And some of these are album covers, and some of these are just, you know. And yeah.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Thank you.
So when you go to Etsy, I don't remember how Etsy works. Did they just look up Elisa Drake on Etsy, or what's the name of the page on Etsy? Or how do you get there on Etsy?
So you can go through my Instagram page. The link is actually in my bio. So if you just click on that, it'll take you right to the page.
Okay. So link in the bio and Instagram. And we're gonna put your Instagram into the chat so everyone has it.
Okay.
How much like the first one, the red and white one, how much would that picture?
How much am I selling this for?
Yeah.
I'm selling it. I'm still figuring out the price, but right now I'm thinking 30.
Oh wow. That's awesome. All right. Well, I'll buy that. I'm gonna buy some others, but I really like that one, so I'll talk to you later about that one. But these are one of a kind, though, right? So that's why I'm putting
Yeah.
it out. I don't want anybody else to think they were gonna buy that, because
And I missions as well. So if you want me to make something for you, just share your ideas and I'll try to create them as best I can.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
truly awesome.
Alicia, is this a golf one? Do you still have the golf one?
Yes, I still have it.
Yeah, Rashida, did you see it on Instagram? Okay, I'll order that one. Well, except for the cigarette. I don't know about the cigarette. He won't like the cigarette.
She can make you one.
Maybe
She can make you one with whatever you want, so you can call her after and do your own.
All right, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you can decide what you want. You and Rashida can get together and decide. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, how long does it take you to do a picture? I'm just curious. Like, how long does
So usually it takes me about I want to say maybe 3 hours. Sometimes more for the more complex ones. I'm actually working on one right now in my basement as we speak for somebody. But yeah, that's pretty much how long it can depend. If I want to rest for a day, I'll come back to it the next day. So yeah.
That's awesome. I also want to know, like, are you still doing makeup? I've been trying to get you to do my makeup for years. I can't get on your schedule. Are you still doing makeup?
I am still doing makeup. I am. I actually just did my makeup the other day, thinking about posting it on my page too. But yes, I am still doing makeup. Yeah.
So how do we reach you if we want to get our makeup done? Do we
Same Instagram page, and you can just DM me, and I'll tell you the price depending on what you want and everything.
Do you do lashes?
I don't do like lash extensions, but I do know how to put on individual. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Awesome. I'm so proud of you. Oh my goodness.
And you set up your Etsy page all by yourself. You didn't even have any help from your mom. Is that correct?
Okay.
You're not
Alicia, I don't think.
okay.
Alicia, when you think about pricing, you should think about, you just said 3 hours. You should think about what you want yourself to be worth per hour.
Mm-hmm.
Because painting is something that there's really no price. You can set the price it's worth.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, think about how many hours you spent on a particular painting and the materials and everything in addition. So you might want to consider looking at your pricing that way.
Upping your prices. You can definitely up your prices.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
yeah, and that's a process that, you can kind of figure that out and add on a little, because it's art. right?
It's art, and it's fabulous. It's fabulous art too. So yeah, and look, feel free to call any of us on this call to talk through any of your business questions as well, because we want to help you succeed and grow your business for sure. And you are talented, so definitely, yeah, your art is definitely worth higher prices than you probably are setting at this point, for sure. Because I mean,
Yeah.
beautiful. I mean,
Thank,
then you have to calculate in the expense of the supplies that you're using as well, and make
yeah.
sure that you're making, enough for your time and effort. And that's what, and this goes back to the whole story of what we were talking about earlier about it brings you joy probably to do this. So you do it for nothing, but it's so valuable to the rest of us. Like I saw that and I was like, oh my God, that is fabulous. So yeah, so that's why we know you're walking in your gift, and keep walking in your gift, Elisa.
Thank you.
I'm over the top proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on too. We are really happy that you came on. You are literally our now Vernita's daughter was 19. So you're literally our youngest entrepreneur that we've had on so far. So we are so honored that you joined us today. And you
Glad.
come back too.
Of course I will.
Awesome.
Yeah, girl. Up
Now we're going to talk about Rashida. Rashida, your mother gave us just a highlight of what's been going on with you. She gave us a little backstory, but you tell us your story. And your
you want the whole story? Where do you want me to start? I mean, well, where should I start? Where do you want me to start?
you can start with we'll start with your background, because I mentioned that you were my neighbor and you went to culinary art school here. So was that where this all started for you, or how did this whole business idea start for you?
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, I have a business in LA. It's called Bridgetown Roti. We sell Bayesian and Trinidadian food as a pop-up Friday, Saturday, Sundays from 12 to 8 out of a commissary kitchen space, which is kind of a space that has a lot of different businesses in it. And we started unofficially in 2019. Officially, though, this year, in April of this year is when we formed the LLC, and have been operating as a takeout and delivery only food operation during the pandemic. So that's what we've been doing. As far as me, I went to culinary school in 2008. I've been cooking professionally. Some in Baltimore. I spent a couple years in Philadelphia, a couple in Pittsburgh, and then I spent the last 7 years out here in Los Angeles, cooking in various professional kitchens. And I was doing well with my career, but I wasn't, I'd reached a point where I wanted to apply for kind of executive chef jobs, and I wasn't getting the callbacks as we sometimes do not get as Black women when we try to break into the top. So I did kind of a retrospective and kind of thought about the food I wanted to make next. And after a lot of kind of research and going through what the things I love, the thing I realized that really wasn't out here in LA and what I wanted to make was the Caribbean food I grew up eating. So my mom is from Barbados originally, and during the holidays we had curry chicken and we had codfish cakes and we had peas and rice, and I really didn't see like in the professional culinary space like those things being represented. So that's how I came up with Bridgetown Roti, and I did a couple pop-ups around Los Angeles last year, and then kind of really started the business this year during the pandemic.
Wow.
Can I just say that I love that you created your own opportunity for yourself. Love, love, love that.
Thank you.
Because and that you had the courage to do that. So we don't always get the opportunities, and we should stop looking for other people to give them to us and create our own. So I just want to tell you, I really appreciate your story. Congratulations to you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's been a journey. I didn't think when I started cooking, this is kind of where I would end up, that I would end up kind of going back to what I know as my culinary voice. But I'm really happy that it's turned out that way. And I've been able to work with my mom, who's been mentoring me during this whole process. And, you know, she's a financial partner in the business. So we're keeping it like kind of all in the family, which is really great. And she's spent her retirement being a SCORE volunteer, mentoring entrepreneurs. So she was the perfect person to help me through this journey. And I'm super grateful for that. It's played a huge part in why we've been done so well. And we've gotten some good press. There was a story in the New York Times that we got, and I've been featured in the LA Times a little bit. So people are interested. I think the climate of this past summer has created a space for Black voices to be heard, and people are reaching out to me to hear what I have to say about food and about being Black and being Caribbean American and all the different parts of my story. So it's a cool time, and we're doing well. We're doing well. The business is doing well. Well, as well as it can in a pandemic.
I look forward to sharing with all of my LA persons of getting in touch with you, because I have a lot of friends in LA. So I look
Yeah,
forward.
send them our way.
Woo-wee.
So where are you located again, Rashida?
So our commissary space is in the Arts District, which is just near downtown LA.
Uh-huh.
And it's all our ordering is done online. So we basically set up an online marketplace through our Instagram at Bridgetown Roti. And that's where you can order online and set your pickup time, either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, from about 12 to 8. We aren't really doing like much catering or outside stuff right now, just to keep everything super safe. So we're just kind of like focusing on our little 3-day-a-week business operation.
That's awesome.
I don't have that many people out there, but my son and daughter-in-law are in San Diego, and they go to LA for bits and times. I'm gonna send this to them because they'll eat it.
We also are on Postmates. We deliver through Postmates and
Postmates. That's it.
And Postmates, not Uber Eats.
Postmates
and Postmates. We were looking at Uber Eats, but no Uber Eats. No.
It takes 2 weeks.
So real quick, as an aside, Rashida, did you know you were going to get into this whole cooking thing back when you sold me my Cutco knives?
No.
You were a teenager. Is that the start? Was that really the start when you sold
not at all. Not even
my Cutco knives.
Oh man.
No.
I wish I could say yes, but absolutely not. That was just me cash grabbing teenage life. So
okay. I was just checking.
No. I really didn't. It's funny because we just did another interview with the LA Times today. So all these questions are kind of fresh in my brain. But no, Cutco was not a catalyst.
Okay, just checking.
It's a funny coincidence, but not a catalyst.
But you know what? When I saw how she hustled, I said, "Oh my goodness, I got to work on my hands." Thank goodness. I knew that whatever she got into, she was going to go for it, because she just attacked that thing and got it done and did well. So I was like,
I had no intention of buying any knives. But I have to say, I love my Cutco knives, and she sold us on those. When she cut that penny with those scissors, I think, or no, with the knife, I was like, oh, I have to have these. So you're right, Joy. She's a go-getter. So, and we're proud of you. I'm proud of you. So this is awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your business with us.
If you guys have any questions, I'm here.
Well, you don't ship, because I'm like, I want to taste some of this.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I mean, Elisa likes beef patties too.
Yeah. That just means we need to make a trip to LA.
Patties, yeah.
And I have to tell you, she's modest, but all of her food is prepared, everything from scratch.
Wow.
She makes her own roti dough. She makes her own patty dough. She makes oxtail beef patties, not just beef patties, but oxtail beef patties, shrimp patties, chana and sweet potato patties, and what's the other one? Trini, crab and callaloo. Wow. So this is not your average food. Let me tell you, it's very gourmet Caribbean.
Awesome.
Delicious.
Well,
That's worth the trip to LA just to get some of
I
that.
know, it sure
See,
is.
I grew up in New York, so the Caribbean food was plentiful, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
my homegirls from Jamaica, from Trinidad, so they would hook me up with the roti and all. So my lips right now, I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, having New York background myself was definitely a huge inspiration to the food that I'm doing now. So I feel you on the New York.
yes.
Yeah.
have you ever thought about creating a cookbook?
I think it'll be something we do down the road. You know, we're at a point right now where we're working towards getting into a brick and mortar and expanding the business, and we have a couple people behind us. We have a restaurant consulting group that we're working with, actually pro bono for this past year, because they offered their services pro bono to Black-owned businesses after the riots. So, you know, I've definitely stepped into a space, you know, where people, again, want to hear from me, want to hear our stories, you know, want to hear what we've been through and are interested and are being quiet enough to listen. So it's exciting to kind of be in that space and just, you know, tell my story.
That's awesome. Well, I enjoyed your story. The audience totally enjoyed your story. And if ever you figure out a way to ship to the East Coast, let us know.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get to that point. We sure will.
And yeah, anyone else have any questions before we close out for the evening?
I just think that it is just amazing how thriving in the pandemic. I talk about that a lot. And I know that it has been rough for some people, but you know, I appreciate you, Rashida, and you, Elisa, who continue to walk in your gifts and continue to thrive and continue to you know, thrive even in the pandemic and offer because I think what both of you all do is offer hope to people, because there's a, you know, there's an artistic painting that somebody can put up that brings them hope, and you know, that food that they can, you know, put in their belly that tastes good, that's fresh, that's homemade, is also bringing someone hope, you know? So I, you know, in this pandemic, I think that's a wonderful thing. And, you know, it does not yet appear what is in store for you all.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's excellent. And yes, keep telling your stories, ladies, because you don't have no idea who, like as Regina was saying, you're inspiring. I mean, just keep sharing your stories as much as possible, because I mean, for at least for most of us on here, every week I get inspired by someone's story or something that someone said, and you just never know who you're inspiring out there as well. So keep sharing, and thank you so much for coming and joining us this evening. You two,
Okay.
Lisa and Rashida,
Yeah,
are
it was my
some of
pleasure.
our youngest guests that we've had. So we are appreciative that you shared this time with us. And you're always welcome to come back and share anytime you'd like. We'd love for you to join us again. But thank you so much for joining us this evening. And we look forward to supporting your businesses. So we will be sharing your information in our Facebook Live chat. So
Thank
ladies.
you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful week. As we always say, we hope that this conversation has blessed someone out there. And we hope that everyone has a wonderful, wonderful week and start leaning into your gifts. So bless everyone out there this week. Stay safe.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Oh, yeah.